Hello YouTube friends, this is Max again. This is my second video using my GoPro, and this is going to be a little bit shorter and perhaps slightly better in terms of my speaking style, just a little more relaxed and a little more what's on top of my mind than the first video that I did. So this is going to be a follow-up since I've now got 2,000 miles on the Road Glide special that I did the first video on. So I feel like I've got a few more observations and data points that I wanted to share with you guys coming off of the Goldwing and my first motorcycle, the Kawasaki Vulcan 900. So I thought I've got a few more things that I can talk about and give you things to consider if you're considering this motorcycle. So when I test drove the Road Glide, I test drove this at Maverick Harley Davidson in Carrollton, Texas, and I strongly recommend that dealership. I've had a little bit of experiences now with them. I'm satisfied with the salespeople, the service, the parts people. They all seem to really have their acts together, and there seems to be good general positive feedback on the internet forums. So I just kind of wanted to put that out there. If you want to go in and test drive some bikes, say that Max sent you, and go ask for Nitro, Jim Brown. Nitro. So he's a real good guy. I've ridden with him, and he's very knowledgeable about motorcycles. So when I test drove, the first bike that I got on was the Street Glide Ultra, and it's this beautiful green bike that you're seeing in the video. And and when I first tried this bike, I really liked it. The only thing that I missed about the Goldwing that I traded in to get in on the Harley was the Goldwing had a really fantastic stock stereo system. You could actually hear the audio, over 70 miles an hour. You could actually hear the music. Whereas on the Harley, it's practically impossible. And I've got the stage 1 audio, so if I got the upgraded audio on top of that, then I think that might help some of that situation. But it's really hard to hear the music when I'm riding on the Harley at any speed really over 50 miles an hour. Whereas that was not the case with the Goldwing. The other thing I missed about the Goldwing was that you could actually see the navigation screen on the Goldwing. Whereas here on the 6.5 boom audio navigation system on the Harley, it's practically washed out. It's the angle of the screen. It's really just washed out in daylight. So that's a bit of a bummer, but it's really not the end of the world, and it's still quite usable. And I feel that having the navigation screen is a nice bonus, but I don't think it is an absolute must. In fact, the navigation system and the menus on the Goldwing were way friendlier, and the Harley system is less friendly. Although I do appreciate the touchscreen on the Harley Boom navigation system, so that is a plus. It also really sucks on the Harley system that you can't get to the where to screen while the Harley's in motion. That means if you're driving the motorcycle and you want to suddenly say, okay, navigate me home or navigate me to a most recent place, you can't do that without coming to a full stop. So that's a real bummer. It seems kind of counterintuitive, because on the Goldwing you certainly could do that. While you're in motion, you could just tell the bike to navigate you back home or to a recent place. The other thing too is riding the Goldwing was certainly more of a cleaner experience, meaning I just felt less grimy, I had less road dirt on me. The fairing really protected you from the elements. But the bad side of that, of course, is you can't really get super comfortable on the Goldwing. You're very limited in terms of your knee positioning, the leg positioning. That was really a big point for me as to why I ultimately ended up selling the Goldwing, the 2012 GL 1800. Why I ultimately sold that bike and moved into the Harley ecosystem was really just because you can get so comfortable on the Harley. You can really lean back, you can relax. You have so many different seating positions. It's just a more visceral experience. Yeah, you're going to get a little grimier and dirtier, especially because on the Road Glide you don't have the lower fairings, the lower protection from the elements the way you do on the Street Glide. But you're much more part of the bike. You're much more part of the environment that you're riding on. So when you get off, you're going to be a little bit grimier than, say, when I was in the Goldwing. And also, it's definitely less tiring if you're riding on a Harley with earplugs, because it just really drowns out a lot of the ring noise, and not so much the pipe noise. I don't mind that at all. It's really just it's kind of tiring with all the wind noise. Whereas on the Goldwing, I felt like I didn't really need earplugs as much, but it's definitely less of a tiring experience riding with earplugs, so something to think about. And I mentioned previously the seating position on the Harley rocks because there's so many more options as to how you want to sit, especially once you get Kuryakyn pegs on. Man, it is so comfortable and it's so relaxing, and it's just a very pleasant experience. Also, the 16-inch ape hangers that I've got on the Harley Road Glide are super comfortable. They were installed by the dealer as part of the dealer upgrades. Too bad in the way they installed it though, that the cable, the braided cable, isn't integrated into the bars, so that's a bit of a bummer. But I suppose that would have cost even more had they gone that route. But in any case, it's not bad the way they've set it up. And also, cleaning the bike on a Harley is certainly more involved than just simply wiping down all the Tupperware on the Goldwing. So that's another thing I wanted to point out as far as differences between owning the Goldwing and riding the Goldwing versus the Harley experience. And the other two things I wanted to mention are the engine power on the Goldwing. The Goldwing is an 1800cc bike, and it soars. And, on the highway, you really notice the difference in having that 6-cylinder engine under you. And it sounds like a sewing machine, but it flies. As opposed to on the Harley, the Road Glide is a 1600cc engine, the Road Glide that I purchased, and from a power perspective, while it's no slouch and it's got good amount of power, it just doesn't blow away in the way that the Goldwing engine power did. So that's one thing I did want to point out, is from a raw performance perspective, the Goldwing really felt more powerful than the V-twin on the Harley. And the other thing too is from a heat perspective, on the Goldwing it was, obviously the bike had coolant, so it was really no problem if you ever got stuck in traffic. Whereas on the Harley, I'm still getting used to, if you ever get stuck in traffic, it's a real pain because it just really starts to heat up. And of course, I get worried about how much can you let the engine just kind of idle in traffic and heat without doing any damage. So it's constantly at the forefront of my mind, and I want to make sure that if I'm truly ever stuck and I really can't ride the shoulder, or I'm not able to just split my way out of there, and if I really am stuck and I can't get out, then I know that the right thing to do is turn the engine off and kind of let it cool if that's a possibility and if it's kind of safe. So the whole heat and traffic situation, that's really the biggest downside from my perspective in terms of Harley ownership. So assuming that the bike is going to be reliable, assuming that it's going to be pleasant, obviously I'm going to do all the maintenance in terms of having, either my dealership or an independent shop do the maintenance. But ultimately, it seems like the real downside, if anything, living in Texas here, is the heat and traffic situation. So that's the only real downside that I can see with Harley experience. So again, comparing the Street Glide to the Road Glide, the Street Glide was nice. I like the large integrated mirrors into the fairing. But from the perspective of the way the windshield is, this plastic windshield on the Street Glide, and the way the Street Glide fairing is integrated with the forks, it just felt like a bit of a small step down from the Road Glide. To me, the Road Glide felt like an upgrade or a step up from the Street Glide. Now obviously in this video, I'm not comparing the Street Glide Ultra to the Road Glide Ultra, but the motorcycle that I purchased, this black Road Glide, is a special. It's not an Ultra, but so it's not really an apples to apples comparison.
Hey Brian, hang on a sec.
But I really prefer the shark nose fairing on the Road Glide. I like that detached, where the fairing does not move with the forks. That's similar to how the Goldwing was. I really feel like from my experience trying both bikes, that the Road Glide is a strong preference for me over the Street Glide. And I'm also glad I didn't get the Ultra on the Road Glide. I really like that clean, smooth, all blacked out bagger look. And I love the fact that I can just, I'm a tall guy, I'm 6'1", I can just swing a leg over and not have to worry about this awkward dance I used to do with the Goldwing, trying to lift up my pant leg, trying to hop my way across onto the seat without getting any boot scuff marks on the seat. It's just nice not having to do all that with the bagger. You just swing your leg over and it's really no big deal. I love that convenience of not having the sissy bar and of not having the tour pad, just having that low speed bagger look. And I credit my friends Dave and Brian for really talking me into not getting that trunk pad, the tour pad, and staying with that sleek bagger look. It's just very convenient, and I'm glad I went with that recommendation. And the other modifications that I've made to the Road Glide since I purchased it, that you can see here in the videos, the modifications I made were that I added a black rare saddlebag guard, and I also swapped the engine chrome guard with the blacked out engine guard for the Road Glide special. So I really appreciate that. It's just, it really rounds out and completes the blacked out look. And there's maybe a few more parts that are still chrome on here that I can black out eventually over time. But for now, I feel like the baseline has been established, and the bike just rocks. I'm really loving it. And I strongly recommend the Road Glide. MSRP is at $23,699 with the Road Glide Special. I absolutely recommend getting the Special, if nothing else, for the added safety of the ABS. I feel like the ABS has already saved me a couple of times. I tend to be a more conservative rider. If anything, I'm more on the moderate side. I'm certainly not an all-the-time aggressive rider, but I'm sort of in the moderate side. I wouldn't say that I'm super conservative, but I've already felt like the ABS has helped really slow me down in a hurry. When, even just one split second, if you need that extra stopping power, the ABS can save your life and save your bike. The navigation system on the Special versus not the Special, again, it's a $3,000 savings if you choose just to get the Road Glide or the Street Glide, and you choose not to get the Special. You're going to save $3,000 in not getting the 6.5 boom audio, GPS, and the ABS, and maybe a few other things. But for the most part, the navigation system, I'm kind of on the fence about as far as how important it is and how much it's a necessity. But I would say the ABS is an absolute necessity and totally worth it from a safety perspective. And I think that alone is worth the Special for. So that's my opinion, guys. And if you're in the North Texas area, stop by at Maverick Harley. I don't work for the dealership. I'm just a regular customer that I've had good experience with them, which is why I'm making this plug. And tell them that Max recommended you, and that way you and I can both get some gift cards for a customer referral. And go see Nitro, Jim Brown, if he's there, and he'll take care of you. Thanks, and I appreciate your feedback. Leave some comments, and I look forward to doing more videos.